As children, we were captivated by the simple yet emotional tale of the giving tree, a story about a tree that gives and gives until there is nothing left. A beautiful story about unconditional love, right? Or is it? Today we revisit Shel Silverstein's classic with adult eyes. What hidden meanings, political insights, and philosophical undertones does it hold? Let's take a deeper dive into the giving tree, beyond the nostalgia. But first, let's find out more about the author of the book. Shel Silverstein was a man of contradictions, an artist who balanced lighthearted humor with deep, sometimes unsettling themes. Born in 1930 Chicago, he started drawing and writing at a young age, but never fit the mold of a traditional children's author. Instead, he built a career filled with unexpected turns. Silverstein first gained recognition as a cartoonist for Playboy magazine in the 1950s, traveling the world as a correspondent for the publication. His sharp, often risque humor made him a favorite among adult audiences, but it also raised eyebrows when he transitioned into children's literature. Some parents and educators questioned whether someone with such a provocative background should be writing for kids. His 1964 book, The Giving Tree, became his most famous and most controversial work. On the surface, it tells a simple story. A tree gives everything it has to a boy, asking for nothing in return. Some interpret it as a heartwarming tale of unconditional love, often comparing the tree to a selfless parent. But others see a darker message. The boy takes and takes without gratitude, while the tree sacrifices itself completely. Is it a lesson in generosity or an unhealthy model of one-sided relationships? This debate has followed the book for decades. Beyond the Giving Tree, Silverstein's poetry collections, such as Where the Sidewalk Ends and A Light in the Attic, were beloved by children, but often challenged by adults. His playful, sometimes dark humor, featuring mischievous kids, rebellious themes, and absurd situations, led to book bans in some schools. Some critics felt his work encouraged disobedience, while others praised him for respecting children's intelligence and embracing the weird, messy reality of life. Despite the controversy, Silverstein never apologized for his unique style. He rejected labels, refused to write sequels, and rarely gave interviews. He wanted his work to speak for itself, and it has, with The Giving Tree and his poetry still read widely today. Now, with that in mind, since it's a short enough story, we're going to read it together. Once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. And every day the boy would come, and he would gather her leaves and make them into crowns and play king of the forest. He would climb up her trunk and swing from her branches and eat apples. And they would play hide and go seek, and when he was tired, he would sleep in her shade. And the boy loved the tree very much, and the tree was happy. But time went by, and the boy grew older, and the tree was often alone. Then one day the boy came to the tree, and the tree said, "Come, boy, come and climb up my trunk and swing from my branches and eat apples and play in my shade and be happy." "I am too big to climb and play," said the boy. "I want to buy things and have fun. I want some money. Can you give me some money?" "I'm sorry," said the tree, "but I have no money. I have only leaves and apples. Take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city. Then you will have money, and you will be happy." And so the boy climbed up the tree and gathered her apples and carried them away, and the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was sad. And then one day the boy came back, and the tree shook with joy, and she said, "Come, boy, climb up my trunk and swing from my branches and be happy." I am too busy to climb trees, said the boy. I want a house to keep me warm, he said. I want a wife and I want children, and so I need a house. Can you give me a house? I have no house, said the tree. The forest is my house, but you may cut off my branches and build a house. Then you will be happy. And so the boy cut off her branches and carried them away to build his house. And the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time. And when he came back, the tree was so happy she could hardly speak. Come, boy, she whispered. Come and play. I am too old and sad to play, said the boy. I want a boat that will take me far away from here. Can you give me a boat? Cut down my trunk and make a boat, said the tree. Then you can sail away and be happy. And so the boy cut down her trunk and made a boat and sailed away. And the tree was happy, but not really. After a long time, the boy came back again. I am sorry, boy, said the tree, but I have nothing left to give you. My apples are gone. My teeth are too weak for apples, said the boy. My branches are gone, said the tree. You cannot swing on them. I am too old to swing on branches, said the boy. My trunk is gone, said the tree. You cannot climb. I am too tired to climb, said the boy. I am sorry, sighed the tree. I wish that I could give you something, but I have nothing left. I am just an old stump. I am sorry. I don't need very much now, said the boy. Just a quiet place to sit and rest. I am very tired. Well, said the tree, straightening herself up as much as she could. Well, an old stump is good for sitting and resting. Come, boy, sit down and rest. And the boy did. And the tree was happy. The end. When we were kids, the giving tree seemed like a simple, heartwarming story. A tree loves a boy, the boy loves the tree. As he grows older, the tree gives everything she has, her apples, her branches, her trunk, just to make him happy. And in the end, when she is nothing but a stump, the boy, now an old man, returns to sit and rest. The story ends with the haunting words, and the tree was happy. But as adults, the story doesn't feel quite so simple anymore. One of the most popular interpretations of the giving tree is that the tree represents a mother, while the boy represents a child growing up. At the beginning of the book, the relationship is idyllic. The boy plays in the tree's shade, swings from her branches, eats her apples, and sleeps beneath her. The text says, and the boy loved the tree very much, and the tree was happy. This mirrors the early years of childhood, when a child is fully dependent on their parent, but the relationship is mutual. There is love, joy, and companionship. But as the boy grows, his needs change. He no longer wants to climb and play. Instead, he wants money. I want some money, he says. The tree, desperate to make him happy, offers her apples. Take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city. Then you will have money and you will be happy. This moment reflects a shift that many parents experience. Their children begin to see them not just as a source of love, but as a provider. And as the boy continues to take her branches for a house, her trunk for a boat, the tree continues to give, asking for nothing in return. Some parents see this story as a powerful reflection of the sacrifices they make for their children. They give their time, their energy, their resources, until one day they have nothing left to give. And yet, even in the end, when all the tree has left is a stump, she still welcomes the boy back. This is why many readers interpret the story as a symbol of parental love, specifically the kind of unconditional, self-sacrificing love that many mothers provide. But this leads us to a deeper question. Is the tree's love admirable, or is it unhealthy? In fact, some see it as a disturbing portrayal of a toxic, one-sided relationship. Throughout the book, the boy never asks if the tree is okay. He never expresses gratitude. He only returns when he wants something. And each time the tree gives, hoping perhaps that the boy will finally stay. But he never does. When he takes her apples for money, he disappears. When he takes her branches for a house, he disappears. When he takes her trunk for a boat, he disappears. And when he returns as an old man, there's nothing left of her. She is given everything. And yet, and the tree was happy, but not really. This is one of the most haunting lines in the book. It's the only moment where the tree's happiness is questioned. Is she truly happy, or is she simply resigned to her fate? This reading of the book suggests that the giving tree is not a model of love, but rather a warning about what happens when one person gives endlessly while the other only takes. Some see this as a metaphor for toxic relationships, whether between a parent and a selfish child, between friends, or even in romantic partnerships when one person gives everything while the other offers nothing in return. If this is the case, then the giving tree is not a celebration of love, it's a cautionary tale about the dangers of self-sacrifice. Another interpretation of the giving tree is that it's not about love at all, but about the way humans exploit nature. The boy takes the apples for money, just as humans harvest resources for profit. He takes the branches for a house, just as we cut down forests for shelter. He takes the trunk for a boat, just as we strip the earth of its resources for personal gain. And in the end, after everything is gone, all that remains is a stump, a ruined, lifeless version of what once was. In this reading, the giving tree is an environmental allegory, a warning about the consequences of taking from nature without giving back. And just like in real life, by the time we realize what we've done, it's often too late. Given these interpretations, is The Giving Tree really a children's book? Some parents see it as a beautiful lesson about generosity. Others worry that it teaches kids that love means giving without limits, even to those who don't appreciate it. But another concern comes from the author Shel Silverstein himself. Some parents worried that this taught children the wrong lesson about relationships. Should kids learn that love means sacrificing yourself completely, even if the other person never gives anything in return? Should they grow up believing it's okay to take advantage of someone who cares about them? Educators were especially concerned about how young girls might interpret the book. Would they see the tree as a role model and believe that self-sacrifice without boundaries is what love is supposed to look like? For these reasons, The Giving Tree was banned from some schools and libraries. While not as widely banned as some other books, The Giving Tree was challenged and removed from certain libraries over the years. One of the most well-known cases happened in Colorado, where a public library banned the book in the 1980s because it was seen as sexist. The argument? The tree, which is referred to as she, gives and gives, while the boy, a male character, takes and takes without consequence. Critics believe this dynamic reinforced outdated gender roles, portraying women as self-sacrificing nurturers while men were entitled to their generosity. In a time when gender equality was a growing conversation, some educators felt that The Giving Tree sent the wrong message to young girls about what love and relationships should look like. Other libraries and schools hesitated to include the book in their children's sections because of its ambiguous message. Unlike many classic children's books which end with clear moral lessons, The Giving Tree leaves its conclusion open to interpretation. Is the tree truly happy at the end? Should we admire her selflessness or see it as a warning? Some adults worried that young children wouldn't be able to grasp the book's deeper themes and might simply absorb the idea that love means giving everything until there's nothing left. This debate continues even today. Some parents and educators see The Giving Tree as a beautiful lesson about generosity, while others believe it teaches children to accept and even embrace one-sided, unhealthy relationships. At the end of the day, The Giving Tree isn't like most traditional children's books. It doesn't have a clear moral lesson. It doesn't resolve neatly. It lingers in your mind, forcing you to question its meaning. And maybe that's why it continues to be so controversial. For some, it's a heartwarming tale of unconditional love. For others, it's a disturbing story about emotional exploitation. And for some parents, it's simply not a book they want their kids reading, at least not without a discussion afterward. But what do you think? Should The Giving Tree be considered a children's book, or is it really a story meant for adults? Let's talk about it in the comment section below. Silverstein never explained The Giving Tree. He never said if it was a happy story or a sad one. He never even called it a children's book. And maybe that's the point. The meaning of The Giving Tree depends on who you are when you read it. A child might see a story about love. An adult might see a story about loss. A parent might see both. So what do you think? Is The Giving Tree a beautiful tale of unconditional love? A cautionary tale about self-sacrifice? Or a warning about human greed? I'll leave you to make up your own mind. Anyways, these were my thoughts on the past pages. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again next time.